What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you for another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a little bit of time since I've been able to come to you due to travel, game schedule, all that good stuff. But got a few things to get to, got a lot to talk about. But thank you for joining Bardo's Breakdown. Let me get this out of the way. Go to bardostribe.com to get your copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. It's a free guide that breaks down some of the terminology and things that I use during the game. I was dropping some Tribe Called Quest lyrics the other day, and coordinating producer for Fox tuned in. I was kind of surprised. He was like, yeah, I kind of it said something through the producer, something silly. But, he's listening. So if you guys have heard me on the last few games, I've been dropping some lyrics. So just so you can understand what I'm saying, go check out. Oh, shoot. Got a call there. Sorry about that. Go check out Bardo's Tribe, BARDOS tribe.com to get your free copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. You can also join the email by going to bardostribe.com and signing up for the email. I sent one out today. It's growing very nicely. We want to get to 2,000 before the end of the season. So that'd be fun. So make sure you go to bardostribe.com and you can sign up for that. Or third way is you can text me 312-847-2739 to join the inner circle. That is the tribe. So there's three different ways. You can sign up directly for the email list. You can go get your free copy of Triple Threat, or you can text me to 312-847-2739. Okay, we got that out of the way. Let's get to the business now. Big Ten Player of the Week, Zach Edey of Purdue. These numbers are they're video game like. He averaged 31 points per game this past week. Look at those numbers. He averaged 16 rebounds. I mean, the guy is putting up crazy numbers, and I even caught myself last few times where I was just kind of skipping over it. I got to give Zach some love. This guy is dominating the Big Ten Conference and dominating college basketball. And I believe this was his 6th or 7th Big Ten Player of the Week award for Zach Edey. So big ups to Zach Edey, holding it down for the Purdue Boilermakers, who seem to have righted the ship after their upset loss at Northwestern. I'm sorry, at Nebraska. But it's not because of him, because he's been putting in the work. Nephew, I see you, nephew. Jonathan Blackwell, Wisconsin, Big Ten Freshman of the Week again. Averaged 13 points per game this past week in a couple of wins for Wisconsin. Jonathan has really become dynamic. You see his numbers there. This is off the bench. And he's taking high-quality looks, shooting great from the free throw line. He made all of his three-point shots in the second game. So Jonathan Blackwell doing his thing, man. And it's good to see, because he's an integral part of first place Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Ten race right now. So big ups to my nephew, Jonathan. Way to go, my man. Keep up the great work. Proud of you. All right, let's go to last week's results. Not upsets really, but the Penn State upset of Wisconsin was a big one. They scored 48 points, I believe, in the second half. And Kanye Clary and Ace Baldwin Jr. were outstanding in that 87-83 win. I know Greg Gard was not pleased to be giving up 87 points, because Wisconsin is much better defensively than that. But tip your hat to Penn State. They had to have one at home. They got a big one. And I believe that was Mike Rhodes, head coach at Penn State. I believe that was his first win against a ranked opponent. So congratulations to them. Big ups to them. Illinois beats Michigan. I got a chance to call that one. I was on the 1s and 2s with Kevin Kugler. We had a good time. Illinois looked really good. Michigan was improved because they had Doug McDaniel. For those that don't know, Doug McDaniel at Michigan is serving a 6-game road suspension. He can play the home games, but he can't play on the road. Don't ask me why. It's a Michigan thing. Like everything else out of that place is a Michigan thing. So don't ask why he's able to play at home and down the road. It's a Michigan thing. But he was playing, and they were coming at Illinois. They looked improved that game, but Illinois hit them with a punch in the second half. And Coleman Hawkins was outstanding. I think that was his best game of his career, at least the ones that I've seen. And then Illinois beats Rutgers, and Terrance Shannon Jr. returns. So we'll get into that here just after I say this. But Illinois looking pretty good with all the turmoil surrounding their program. So all things considered, yesterday, Terrance Shannon Jr. looked pretty good. 16 points. He was 4-10 from the field. He knocked 6. I think he hit 6 of his 8 free throws. And I think that dunk at the end of the game kind of, got him kind of, it was almost a relief, so to speak, because he was a little winded. He's not in game shape yet. He will be. Hasn't played, missed 6 games. So he came back. He looked good. I was glad the crowd supported him. I don't know what it's going to be like on the road. I think it's going to be vicious on the road. I hope not, but I think it will. So big ups to Terrance Shannon Jr. for returning to the Illini team and not really missing a beat. Guys, when you miss 6 games in season with all the stuff that's swirling around this young man's future, his career, having, I don't know what his NIL money is looking like since he got these charges against him. I don't know if there's a moral clause in his contracts. All that's up in the air. The fact that he got reinstated to play is a good thing for his future potential earnings because he's back playing. But I don't know if this will have anything to do with the criminal case in Kansas, but we'll see. Speaking of Purdue, they've won their last 3 games. And I know people are like, oh, well, they won the last 3 games. That's the longest winning streak in the Big Ten Conference right now. That's how competitive this conference is. So Purdue's won their last 3 games. At home against Penn State, they throttled Indiana, and they really handled Iowa, both on the road. And they won those games by an average of 17 points per game. Now, here's the thing. Rutgers is in last place. But the last 2 times Purdue has been to the rack, you know what happened. They've been upset. So does Purdue have the personnel to score with Purdue? Does Rutgers have the personnel to score with Purdue? I don't think so. But strange things happen out at the rack at Rutgers. That's going to be interesting to see. And then the Big Ten Conference logjam is developing similar to what we saw last season. So let me pull this up and see if I can share my screen with you guys so we can look at the standings together really quickly. Bear with me here for a second. Let's see. Present, share screen, ESPN standings. All right. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's kind of small, I know. Wisconsin 6-1, Purdue 6-2, Illinois 5-2, Northwestern, Nebraska Northwestern at 4-3, then the Nebraska, Indiana, Michigan State 4-4, Ohio State, Iowa, Minnesota 3-4, Maryland, Penn State at 3-5, Rutgers and Michigan at 2-5. So you guys can take a look and see the parity of the conference is definitely there. And that log jam is starting to really build up. So 11 teams are within 2 games of each other in the loss column. And it appears to me that Purdue, Wisconsin, and Illinois are starting to separate themselves. Wisconsin with 1 conference loss, Purdue and Illinois with both 2. Now, Northwestern has 3 conference losses. And so we'll see if they can keep pace, but they're coming off a loss at Nebraska. Tough loss because it was a good game, but Nebraska made plays down the stretch. Tominaga was hot and got hot at the right time, closed the game on a 10-4 run, assuring the Huskers got the win. So it looks like it's going to be very similar to what it was last year in terms of a jumbled mess in the middle. Golly, I keep getting all these calls, man. Hold on. Sorry about that. And so It's going to be a jumbled mess in the middle, and it's going to be amazing what we see come Big Ten conference tournament time. It's going to be fun to see. All right. Let's go a little bit deeper into the Fighting Illini, a little deep dive with the Fighting Illini. I mentioned the Illinois versus at Michigan game. They were dominant in the second half. Quincy Guerrier was outstanding with another double-double. But Coleman Hawkins, look at this line. 21 points, 10 rebounds, 6 steals, 4 assists, and 0 turnovers. He's got games back-to-back with 5 or more steals at 6'10". This is your starting center. This is the Coleman Hawkins that we thought we'd see. The young man that's having fun because he's an emotional young man, right? But he's smiling. He's not necessarily focused on the refs that much. He's really done a good job with that. He seems to be playing to the crowd, which he loves to do. And if he's going to put up a stat line like that, shoot, play to the crowd every time, Coleman, because those are pro numbers right there. The way that he's playing right now, the points are great, but the rebound, steals, assists, no turnovers, handling the basketball, and the defense, he's to me, he's up for Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year right now. You know, I know Clifford Morey with the block shots, Zach Edey, they'll get a lot of love. But Coleman Hawkins should be right in there in terms of the voting for the Big Ten Player of the Year because he's been outstanding. It's been fun to see, and I love to see a young man. I think the maturation is kicked in, and he's doing a much better job of controlling his emotions, in my opinion. All right, let's talk about the Terrance Shannon situation a little bit. The ruling of him being reinstated with the Illini team doesn't have anything to do with the Kansas situation. So I'm still very nervous about that. And I'm hoping that Terrance's legal team can find a way to try to get the charges dismissed or thrown out. Because as hard as they're working here to get him back to play, they need to be working that hard in Kansas. Hiring someone on that side to go get affidavits from all the people who are supposedly involved, because the case, from what I've read, doesn't appear to hold a lot of weight. Now, I'm not saying this young lady is not telling the truth, but there's no video evidence. There's no eyewitness testimony. It's her word against Terrance's word in a packed Jayhawk Cafe, which is similar to Cam's, I think. It's kind of like Kansas's version of Illinois' Cam's Sports Bar. Kind of same thing. So all these people are in here that evening. There's video surveillance. There's no proof. There's no eyewitness testimony that is supporting this woman's claims. And so, yeah, it for the Illinois basketball program, it's good to see Terrance back. But it's almost like his legal team is more concerned about him playing for Illinois than they are for getting his name and clearing his name. Because to me, that's the most important thing. University of Illinois basketball program is going to be outstanding whether Terrance Shannon comes back, is reinstated or not. The way that Brad Underwood has built up this program, even a player like Terrance Shannon, if he exits the team, you saw how they played. They were 4-2 without him, right? So, in one of those games, I think the game where they lost at home to Maryland, they were just flat. And I think all the emotion and all the things that came, like they had a week where everybody was sick. They couldn't practice one day that week. The stuff around Terrance Shannon is still swirling. I think they just didn't have it. So you throw that game out, and then they lost at Purdue, and they played their tails off. So this Illinois team was going to be fine without Terrance Shannon. Obviously, they are a second weekend possible Final Four contender with him back. But as a black man, I just got to say this. Terrance Shannon is naive enough to think that he's innocent and that he can go into a court of law and prove his innocence. There have been millions before him that look like him that have gone in a court situation that have been innocent. I won't say millions, but there have been plenty of examples of people who were innocent that were found guilty. So I'm still very nervous about that situation. And so, I didn't want to comment a bunch up about it because I kind of got PTSD from that because I was charged with rape in college. It was a lie from a woman that was 6 years my senior. And so I kind of got a little PTSD and didn't really want to talk about it because the day I heard about it, man, I was physically sick. I was crying a little bit. I was really upset for the young man, and I couldn't understand. Like, man, I didn't want to do anything that day, but then all this. I don't know if you guys have ever had some traumatic stuff happen to you, but your mind is a powerful thing, and it will do anything to protect you. And so I had put that so far back in the chambers of my mind that I didn't realize that when I read about Terrance's situation, that it sparked up those emotions, and I didn't exactly understand. I knew why they were strong because I wanted so much for all of these players in the Big Ten, not just the kids at Illinois. I want all of these guys to have success. It's a brotherhood, but especially the kids at Illinois because that's my school, right? That's where I played, and so those guys that play at Illinois, they're brothers. So you never want to see a family member go through what Terrance is having to go through, and so that's why I was kind of really quiet on this, and I didn't say a lot because I was dealing with my own emotions from me and Irvin back in college being accused of rape. It's a very serious thing. And luckily for me, it didn't get out because there was no social media around. The times were way different back then. So hopefully Shannon's legal team can work as hard now in Lawrence, Kansas as they did to get him reinstated with the Illinois basketball program. All right. And I know a lot of you got questions because, boy, we got a lot of people on here today. So I'm going to get to that here in a second, but bear with me. Stock rising. Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan State. Don't look now. The Spartans have won 3 in a row, and they have the only game of the week at Wisconsin. Boy, how this schedule has played out well for the Spartans, right? They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're going to go to, one of the 2 or 3 toughest venues in the Big Ten this season at Wisconsin. And if they can beat Wisconsin, look out because they're going to start rolling. They're going to start putting it together. Tom Izzo, he just needs one good win and it can start to roll. So stock rising, Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan State. Stock falling, Indiana, Minnesota, and Maryland. The Hoosiers have dropped 2 in a row. Khalil Ware did not play in one of those games. So hopefully his health is not in question any longer. The Gophers have lost 3 in a row. Man, they were playing so well. And Elijah Hawkins got hurt. So I don't know his status, but I hope that he gets back quickly because Minnesota was playing really good basketball. And then Maryland has dropped their last 2 after upsetting Illinois. But in those 2 games they've lost, they played their tails off. 2-point loss yesterday to Michigan State. So Maryland is definitely playing better, but they dropped their last 2 games. That's why their stock has fallen. Excuse me there for a second. All right. Big Ten KenPom rankings. It shifted a little bit, and I want to start giving the top 50 because the top 50, top 60 KenPom rankings are pretty much a lock for the NCAA tournament. I know the people at NCAA tournament don't use KenPom, so they say, but Ken does such an exhaustive, good job with his analytics that I like KenPom. So Purdue is 2. Illinois was 7 last week. They're 9 this week. Wisconsin was 12 last week. They're 11 now. Michigan State drops a couple notches to 19. Ohio State fell big time. They were in the high 30s. They're now 44. Iowa 45. Nebraska 49. And Northwestern 59. If Northwestern does not have that Chicago State loss, they are more than likely in the 20s or 30s in terms of KenPom rankings. All right. And then finally, the games to watch this week. Illinois and Northwestern is going to be a rematch of the beatdown in Champaign, the 30-point win by the Illini. I'm sure the Wildcats are laying in the weeds for that one. That's going to be a fantastic matchup. The aforementioned Michigan State and Wisconsin game, and then Michigan State at Wisconsin, Indiana and Illinois. I believe that's Friday evening. And then Purdue at Rutgers. We'll talk. Why did I mention that? Because Purdue is second in the Big Ten right now. Rutgers is last. Why did I put that on there? Last 2 times Purdue's been out to Piscataway, New Jersey at the rack, they've come up empty. So I put that on there because that's going to be an interesting game to watch because Rutgers somehow finds a way always to play well at home, even against a highly ranked team like Purdue. They've done it 2 years in a row. All right. Let's get to your questions here. Hold on. Let me clear this out. Let me get over here. Let's see. Haven Mosley, good to see you, my man. I hope the newlywed is still going on. He's tall at 6'10". He wouldn't even start. Okay, Joseph, I don't exactly know what you're talking about. And he won't be a first round NBA pick. Okay. So you guys think, I know you're talking about Coleman Hawkins, right? Yeah, if he continues to play like this, don't be so surprised. Don't be shocked if he goes late first round. I'm telling you guys, he's got a skill set that NBA teams really, really like. Yeah, Mel, Blackwell is tough. He is his dad has really shown him the way and really shared with him the Big Ten experiences that his father has. And he talks about me, he talks about Kendall Gill. And he shared with Jonathan all these stories about his college teammates, and Jonathan was ready. He's putting the work in the weight room, so he's physically ready to compete at the Big Ten level, Mel. And so he's doing a fantastic job. Ryan F., you like that, huh? Breathe in, breathe out. If you're iced up, pull your sleeves out. That's what I said on the air. So, Ryan, I'm glad you caught that, Ryan. I'm having fun, man. If I can throw some 90s hip hop lyrics that people who I love in there and you all recognize it, it really livens up the broadcast. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. As an MSU fan, what's up, Kevin? It's no need to be afraid of them, Ryan, but best believe they are a threat, especially if they win at Wisconsin Friday. There's no doubt about it. Let's see. Illinois played well yesterday. Blackwell played well versus IU. Yep. No, it's true. Both are true. Indiana is not one in the Kohl Center. It's a heck of a run for a visiting Big Ten team to not be able to go into a Big Ten venue and get a win in that amount of time. But Indiana has never won in the Kohl Center. It's a crazy stat, isn't it? And yes, Brad Underwood has a 7-0 record against Juwan Howard in Michigan. All-American. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm saying Bardo Q. Illini top 10 in AP KenPom. And just adding, I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Oh, Bobby did deal. So what you saying, Bobby? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, this Michigan disciplined Doug McDaniel for academic reasons, and how they did it is up to them. Okay. What's up, Monty? Good to see you. A lot worried about the effect of the rest of the team when Terrance Shannon is getting the loud hate. It affects them like visiting his Springfield court trip did. They lost because the head was not in it. I mean, you got to tip your hat to Maryland as well, Monty, because they played a heck of a game that day. Jameer Young he got Big Ten Player of the Week that week, I believe. And one of those games was at Illinois because he torched them. So tip your hat to Maryland as well on that one. 3 first-team Big Ten guys. They won't get 3 Big Ten. They won't get 3 all Big Ten because I don't know that I've ever seen that. It's hard to get 2 players on all Big Ten team, first team. But Shannon, Domask, they all 3 of them belong, I think. But generally, the Big Ten Conference doesn't do that, Bobby. But we'll see. It might happen this year. Oh, come on, guys. The weather has been awful this month. I don't know how you travel in this, Bardo. Guys, come on now. Come on. Let's take a deep breath and use some history here, okay? This has been one of the mildest winters in recent memory. I've been in Chicago. This is coming on my 28th season, 28th year, right? These winters are nothing compared with when I first moved back here. Are you kidding me? So we get a snowstorm or 2 or 3 in 2 weeks, and we didn't get a blizzard. So we gotta stop being soft, guys, especially people my age. Come on now. You all didn't forget how brutal the winters are here in Chicago back in the day. Because like 7, 8 years ago, they started changing. And they're nowhere near as brutal, nowhere near as cold, nowhere near as much ice or snow as we used to get 10 years ago. So the travel, although we may have some issues, is nothing like it used to be. Nothing. Let's see. Jeffrey G. Yeah, we don't know because we weren't there. But everybody that I know that has spoken with him and talked to him pretty much had the same sentiment as you do. They're very surprised about all of this. Oh, man, it was one of the coolest things this year in college basketball. Steven Izzo getting his first points in regulation, and the reaction from his teammates was priceless. There's a genuine love. And if you guys have go look on YouTube for Steven Izzo sound bites. He's a funny young man. Very, very funny. I don't know if he's going to go into coaching. He may go into broadcasting because he'd have a career there. The dude is funny. Very, very funny. It was I think it was one of the best moments of the college basketball season thus far. And I think Big Ten Network did a great job of covering it. Curtis, that's a good question. Let's see. Michigan State they're 12-7, and generally I've seen teams get in with 10 or 11 losses based on strength of schedule. They'll have enough, obviously, Michigan State, because they play a tough schedule all the time. Their strength of schedule will be high. So I think that they'll be okay from that regard, but we'll see. Okay, Mark Smith. Mark Smith says Illinois needs more points in the paint. Play Dane Danger more. I'm just saying. He may have some weaknesses, but he didn't miss a shot the other day against Rutgers. He shoots like 65% from the field. He gets to the free throw line almost every time he's in. So I get driving the lane, but I also get playing Dane Danger more minutes. To me, you'd get more points in the paint. Quad 1 and a quad 2. Oh, dude. It has to do with the net. If your opponent is ranked between 1 and 50 in the net, that's a quad 1 victory. If your opponent is 50 to 100, it's a quad 2, and it's based on the net, which I don't like. So I don't want to mess you up. You can go online and see they've got stuff for that, but I don't get into all that stuff because it's not going to matter until Selection Sunday or conference tournament time. I don't really, you know what I mean? So the quad 1, quad 2 stuff, I don't pay attention to that. Yeah, thank you very much. It was scary. It's very scary, but luckily we had a family friend who's a lawyer in the Champaign-Urbana area, and as soon as I got the call from the police, he went down and handled it and got a restraining order against the woman. And so I was very fortunate because of a family friend. But thank you for that. And yeah, it was a traumatic situation. Dory is on it. Indiana, Illinois, Saturday, 2 p.m. Thank you for the clarification, Dory. I got my days mixed up there. I appreciate that. Kevin McDuffie, what's good, Kevin? Good to see you. Oh, thank you, Lyle. I appreciate that. I had fun covering the Illinois-Michigan game because, they played well. They're a fun team to cover. I was with Kevin Kugler, who's one of my best. He's a friend, not only a play-by-play partner, but he's also a friend. So whenever he and I get together, I tend to have really good games because he's such a pro. He's one of the best in the business. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Best wishes to Tony Stubblefield and his staff at DePaul. They were relieved of their duties earlier today. I think we all knew that it was coming. Tony just struggled to get excitement and the players into DePaul. Dwayne Peavy, the athletic director at DePaul, has got a big decision to make because in order to get the NIL money up, you've got to get excitement around the program. And so this hire is going to be critical for the DePaul program and trying to really rally the Chicago alums to support the program, not only by showing up to the games, but also donating. Because I think their NIL was one of the lowest in the Big East. So in order for them to be competitive in the Big East, they've got to make a major splash on this hire. And you already know what the answer is. Absolutely not. Justin Harmon has been balling lately. I think he's a better drive and finish guy than he is a shooter because I've seen him shoot air balls and come back and knock down threes in the same game. So he's a little streaky on the shooting, but he's so well built and strong and crafty. He can really get to the hole. Kevin Lucas, where do you think Purdue can improve the most at? Perimeter defense, because Lance Jones is outstanding, but Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer really struggle to defend the perimeter. And anytime a quick guards go up against Purdue, if there's more than one, Purdue has issues because Lance Jones can handle the primary quickness guy, but there's a secondary player or primary ball handler that's really quick with the bounce, and Lance Jones is not guarding him. Purdue struggles because Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, although on the offensive end they're outstanding defensively, I won't say they're liabilities, but it's tough for them to really contain dynamic guards off the bounce. So because Purdue's got depth, they've got size, their offense is outstanding, their overall defense is pretty good, but I think that their starting backcourt sometimes struggles with very quick guards. So I think perimeter defense is going to be the key for Purdue in order to win a Big Ten Conference regular season title, a conference tournament title, and also a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Notice Kendall Gill and his son Phoenix were at the game. Need to get Phoenix to suit up for the orange and blue. Yeah, Phoenix is going to have a few options because that young man is very talented. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. He's got offers from different places. I better not say because, I don't want to misquote a school that offered him or one that didn't because these people are so sensitive about this stuff. But, yeah, it's going to be a fun decision to watch, especially in the second half when the score got close. Literally took over down the stretch. Yeah, TM, that's what he can do, right? And, it's good to see him back. So, it's good to see him back. Even with Shannon's abs, I personally love watching the bench get to play, and guys like Harmon have been clutch. Long starting five, definitely seen the depth in Brad's bench. Please, everyone has played their part. Good point, Ben. I agree. And I think it points to the connectiveness of this team, how connected they are and how much they pull for one another. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And that chemistry kept them together in all this circus that's surrounding Terrance Shannon's situation. Now, here's the thing. Illinois got to go on the road. And when they do, I'm not expecting it to be pretty, unfortunately. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to spit vitriol towards the team. And so, it's going to be interesting to see. I forgot to mention, too, guys, that Illinois got a huge oral commitment today from 5-star point guard Jeremiah Fears. Jeremy Fears, you guys remember the freshman guard at Michigan State who got shot in the leg when he came home for the break and he's out for the season. This is his little brother, and he's a higher ranked guard than I think Jeremy was. So this is a big get. He's quoted saying, "It's my hometown school. I want to win and be a hometown hero. They've been recruiting me the longest and the hardest since the 8th grade. I have a great relationship with Brad Underwood and his staff." So the young man is saying everything right. And I just wanted to add that in, Ben. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. Tarun Reddy, what's good, bro? Before the season started, some people had high praise for Indiana and Coach Woodson, but they seem so undisciplined, especially Xavier Johnson. Are you surprised by the Hoosiers' poor play? I wouldn't say that the Hoosiers necessarily are having poor play right now. I think Xavier Johnson's behavior is unacceptable. But the rest of the team hasn't, there not been technical fouls or anybody doing anything crazy. His stuff was unacceptable. And the Hoosiers have dropped 3 of the last 5 games, but that's Big Ten play. I told you that jumble between 2 games separate 11 teams in the Big Ten. So they lost at Wisconsin, which a lot of teams are going to do. They lost at home to Purdue, which Purdue's going to be a lot of teams home on the road. They got a good win against Minnesota at home. They go to Rutgers, where they laid an egg. They were terrible because I called that game. They win at home against Ohio State, and then they lose at Nebraska, who's only lost 1 game at home this year. So I don't think Indiana is necessarily playing poorly. It's just the Big Ten schedule right now. And guys, remember, Indiana's playing Malik Renew, sophomore, Mackenzie Mbako, freshman, Khalil Ware, sophomore, Trey Galloway and Xavier Johnson are vets, but Gabe Cupps is a freshman. CJ Gunn and Caleb Banks are sophomores. This is a young basketball team. So I would say give the Hoosiers a little bit of time, allow them to get into the thick of the Big Ten slate. Hopefully Khalil Ware comes back healthy. And then let's circle back, Tarun. If we can remember, let's circle back in about 10 more conference games and see where Indiana is right now. Yes, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. We'll continue to see opposing coaches put. David Yin. What's up, David? Will we continue to see opposing coaches put their 5 on Ty Rodgers? I hope not. I mean, I hope for Ty Rodgers they do, because he's been energized by the challenge. I love it. He's playing booty ball. Me and Kevin Cooper had a good time with that the other night, because Brad Underwood loves to call it booty ball. He loves booty ball, right? So I don't think so. I'm like you. I don't think it's working. And I think opposing teams have seen this, but they might. And if they do, good, because I want to see Ty Rodgers scoring double figures every game. Because if teams do that, he'll have the ability to do that. He's too quick for opposing 5s. Most teams don't have a Coleman Hawkins at 6'10". That's as quick as Coleman's feet, long and active as his hands are. There's not another Coleman Hawkins in the Big Ten defensively. So I would welcome opposing teams, to go ahead and try to guard them with their 5, and let's see what happens. Not ready. Await him. DJL. Dre Gibbs, Longhorn, not ready. Georgetown, Louisville, Georgia, await him. Yeah, John, I don't think that's going to happen. I know Dre Gibbs, Longhorn's mother made a post on Facebook. She was upset, visibly upset. She goes in and talks about her son not playing, getting minutes, right? And this is why some people don't need to be on social media, Because how in the hell do you think a post like that is going to help your son? And I hope Dre's mom is watching. And if anybody knows Dre, share this video with them. Not with Dre, but with his parents, with his mother. Please share this video with them. Because as emotional as you may be, because you might be in a financial situation where you're depending on your son's success, do you think it helps that you're frustrated? And I'm going out on a limb here because I don't know their financial situation. But to me, this is the only explanation for a parent that would freaking snap on social media about their son's lack of playing time. Then you're obviously invested because of your son, but you might be invested because of the money that you anticipate him having. Dre's mom may think that he was one and done, like all these other foolish parents around here, and not understanding that development takes time. Dre Gibbs Longhorn he's already a fantastic player. But is he doing what Brad Underwood wants him to do consistently enough to get more time on the floor? The answer is obviously no. So when Dre's mom or any player's parents go on social media and bitch and moan, how do you think that's going to help your son? Do you get cool points from the people who watch your stuff on social media? Because you knew the Illinois fan base is going to pick up on it. The Illinois fan base is as active and as passionate as any in the country. So if there's anything said by one of the players' parents, it's going to blow up. So I know Dre came back and said the right things on his social media, which is smart of that young man. But for goodness sakes, Dre's mom, chill out. Pump the brakes a little bit. Let the young man develop. I mean, this is a special team. This is one of the best teams in the country without your son playing heavy minutes. So you think just because you're upset and you make a Facebook post that Brad Underwood is he's going to come to his senses and be like, oh, man, I should have been playing Dre more. Of course not. Stop it. Don't do that to your son. Don't put that added pressure and that doubt into the coaching staff's minds. Because college basketball is a revolving door. And if you think he can be better placed somewhere else, you're going to have your opportunity. Because, again, no one monkey stops the circus. No one monkey stops the show. Terrance Shannon didn't stop the show. So your son, Dre Gibbs Longhorn, is definitely not stopping anybody's show at Illinois. Sometimes you got to you got to wait, you got to work when no one's watching, and you got to bide your time. Okay? So I was really upset when I saw that. I just don't understand. I don't understand how parents think that that's going to actually help their children by bitching on social media. Crazy. What's up, Chad Alt? When they add USC, UCLA, will it be like football? I have no idea. I think they're going to pod people up. So like a travel partner, maybe. So USC, they play Maryland. They'll probably play Penn State and Rutgers maybe on the same trip, or they'll play Rutgers on the same trip. And then maybe come back if they've got a Penn State. Maybe they'll play Penn State and Ohio State on that trip. I think it's going to be something like that. I don't know if they're going to do basketball where they break it down to East-West. I'm not sure yet. Autistic berserker. Well, I don't think anybody has to sit, but Brad is basically playing 7 players, a bunch of minutes. So you can shave minutes from all those guys and get enough to get 18 to 20 minutes or 15 to 18 minutes for Dane Danger. There's 15 to 18 minutes in that lineup for him because he's going to shoot 70% from the field. Free throws are an adventure, but he gets opposing front line in foul trouble. He allows you to have more balance on the offensive end, in my opinion. So that's where you get him. You shave him from everybody. Yep. There we go. I see projections on ESPN tournament, and they consistently place Wisconsin as the number 2 seed. Right now, Thomas, they are number 2 seed. Their strength of schedule was I think it was better than Michigan State's this year. Wisconsin had one of the best. I'm looking on KenPom right now. Let me see. Where's Wisconsin? 11. They don't have the strength of schedule on here, but think of this. They lost to Tennessee, lost at Providence, beat Virginia when Virginia was ranked, beat a pretty good Marquette team, and they lost to Arizona. And then they've done some damage in conference play. So Arizona, Marquette, Virginia, Providence, and Tennessee in the non-conference. That's why they're projected so high, because of their non-conference slate, Thomas. Good to see you, my man. Thanks for tuning in. Curtis, it's an unusual year, and that parity was started, in my opinion, 7 years ago. Just gets more and more in college basketball. The parity is just unbelievable. Okay, Carol Paul Paquette, good to see you. Chad Alt, great question. Can you see the Big Ten still adding teams in the future, or is this it? No. And those of you that are tribe members or watch Bardo's breakdown on a regular basis, you've heard me say this. I think they're adding 2 more schools. It's going to be Georgia Tech and Miami. Why do I say that? The Big Ten Conference doesn't worry about necessarily tradition in programs. Big Ten Conference is worried about TV markets. That's how they've grown. Nebraska was the only school, in my opinion, that didn't have a major TV market that they added. And Nebraska fit the academic mode. It fit the college football history in terms of their program. So Nebraska was a nice fit. But everything else has been, Oregon and Washington. Washington is the Seattle television market. That's a big market. Oregon, not so much, but those were throw-ins based on the Pac-12 disintegrating. So if you look at the last 2 big television markets that are still available, in my opinion, because the ACC is so fluid, that you see what's going on with Florida State. And I know that Florida State would love for the SEC and the Big Ten to come get them. Big Ten's not going to get Florida State. They just don't have the television market. If the Big Ten were to expand one more time to 20 teams, like I think they're going to be, the Big 12 now has really flexed their muscles. So it's probably going to be 3 major conferences with 20 teams each. Maybe. And then maybe you might see a merger of the Big East and the AAC schools get together, or a variation of those. But I think the Big Ten will probably add Georgia Tech and Miami for the television markets. Michael Chitty, what's going on? ILLINI. How do they decide broadcast teams for games? That's a great question, because I'd be trying to be with Kevin Kugler and Brian Gauden and Lisa Byington every chance I got. Corey Provis, Jeff Levering, all these play-by-play people that I've worked with over the years. I'd love to do them. Squared circle squares. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. DePaul candidates. Let me run through a quick list, okay? John Becker at Vermont, Rashawn Burno at Northern Illinois, Mark Byington at James Madison, who I covered. James Madison's upset at Michigan State at the beginning of the year. Very good coach. Bryce Drew from Grand Canyon. Justin Gainey, Tennessee's associate head coach right now. Josh Schertz, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Indiana State's head coach. He is a great coach. I love the way that his teams play. Rob Senderoff has been a longtime head coach at Kent State. Will Wade at McNeese State, the cheater. Brian Wardell, the head coach at Bradley. So those are kind of the names that have been thrown out so far for the DePaul opening. And no, I'm definitely not interested, and I'm not even in the ballpark in terms of what athletic director Dwayne Peavy's looking for. And them really want Chad. All of them wanted to go to Illinois. They all wanted to be flying Illini. You think I'm playing? I'm dead serious. Jalen Rose told me that. Jawan's mentioned that to me. They want to be like the Flying Illini. So they figured, okay, we'll go to Michigan, put the long shorts, the black socks, all that. They got that from us. So yeah, they want to be Illini. I wasn't making. I don't go on there and say things and I don't make stuff up. If I quote something like that, best believe I'm telling you like it is. Let's see. Well, Jeffrey, here's the thing. The Illini's Fighting Illini jerseys have been the same kind of jerseys that we were wearing in '89. I mean, it's modeled after the same jerseys that we had. So I don't know. I think they've done pretty good. Now this is interesting. I don't know who this is, but this is good. You do an awesome job on Illinois games when you broadcast them because I know you want them to win, but you do an awesome job of not letting the entire nation know that when you broadcast a game. So I just wanted to compliment you on that. Thank you for that, whoever that is. But here's the thing, guys. It's very difficult to commentate Illinois games for me. It's very difficult for Robbie Hummel to commentate Purdue games. Here's why. It's not that we are wanting our alma maters to win, because we really don't. When I'm calling games, I'm not pulling for the Illini to win. I'm hoping it's a good game so that we have enough to talk about. And at the end of the game, I would want them to win. But it doesn't hurt me if they lose, because I'm not going into the broadcast hoping for an Illinois win. I'm going into the broadcast to make sure I'm on top of my stuff, that I get the important points and the storylines interjected into the telecast, as opposed to worrying about if the Illini win or not. I don't ever go into a broadcast hoping that the Illini win that I'm calling, because that's going to affect the way that I call the games. I know you guys think that, but I appreciate you saying that to allow me to explain this. But Robbie Hummel, you guys would not believe the fan vitriol that he receives, or the fan vitriol that I receive. Every time I call a game on Twitter, some person that calls themselves an Illini fan has something negative to say about my broadcasting. And it used to bother me before. It doesn't bother me anymore, because I haven't had a check bounce once. So my favorite team is green, as in greenbacks. The money, baby. I got you understand what I'm saying? So thank you for that. What's up, Denise? What's the key to Michigan State at Wisconsin game? Trey has been good for Michigan State. Yes, he has. Glad to have Shannon back. She's referencing Trey Holloman. He's been outstanding. I believe he's had double-figure scoring in 3 of his last 5 games. And he's kind of stepped up where Jaden Akins has just been meh, kind of mid. Key to the game is to get the tempo to where Michigan State likes. Now, Wisconsin doesn't mind scoring. This is Greg Gard's high-scoring team. But I think Wisconsin's averaging 77 points a game, but Michigan State would ideally like to get it in the 80s. So tempo and rebounding is going to be key, because Wisconsin's an excellent defensive rebounding team, and Michigan State really gets after on the offensive glass. So tempo and rebound is going to be the keys in those games, Denise. Let's see. Oh, good question, Laura Leishman. Giving Danger not getting minutes, do you think he goes into the portal? Dang, Laura, that's a great question. I know I would think about it. I don't, obviously I'm not on the team. I'm not inside the team meetings and exactly what Brad is looking for, but I know if I was Dane, I'd be thinking about it because I'd want more playing time. I hope he doesn't for the Illini program's sake, because if like Dre Gibbs Lawhorn's mother and Dane Danger can be patient, next year is a clean slate. Think about they're going to lose Shannon, Hawkins, Guerrier, Domask. That's 4 of your top 7 gone. So there's going to be minutes, points, everything available next year for who's coming back, because the Illini are going to have to go in the portal again. But Sincere Harris, Luke Goody, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, Dane Danger, hopefully, Amani Hansberry, Montez Johnson, and that's 6. Ty Rodgers, 7. Right? So and they're going to bring in some pieces in the portal. So there's going to be a ton of minutes next year. And Dane could be maybe even featured, because he may be the most accomplished scorer that will come back. It's certainly the best post option. So great question, though, Laura. I'm sure there's some talk about it, because I know I talked to his dad one time last season. His dad was not happy. I wasn't trying to really hear his rant and all that, but great question. So I'm sure he's thinking about it. Should the Illini no. When you played, there was a year or two where every player on the Illinois team was from Illinois. What's the talent pool looking like currently in Illinois? That's a good question, Chad, because I'm not on the high school basketball scene as much as I need to. Yeah, so I really can't say there. Well, here's the thing. It worked for Purdue, because Purdue's an outstanding team, and Zach Edey's different, y'all. I don't think we're giving Zach Edey enough credit for how good he is. The kid's got great footwork. He's quicker than you think. He's 7'4", 300 pounds. Long. Great instincts. So it worked against Purdue because Zach Edey is a freak. But everybody else, you saw what he did against Monty Sissoko. He wore him out. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure the rotations yet, David. I don't know what's going on. I'd love to see Moretti in there more, but we'll have to see. And man, Nico Moretti's in that mix as well. I forgot about it. So that's 8 guys. But there's still a lot of opportunity next year. Let's see. I went to Bradley. Well, we got a lot of things here that what's up, Anastasia Walker? Good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Bo Singer? Good to see you, man. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. What are the biggest differences? Oh, Chad, come on, man. We ain't got enough time for me to go into all the differences on that. I don't think the freshmen have to go into the dorms. I might be wrong, but I don't think they're mandatory dorms. We had to go to the dorms for 2 years. The facilities, man, we used to practice at Huff Gym before the renovation. Like we were, let me stop. I was about to say something stupid. Everything's different. And we had Converse. They got Nikes. Come on, man. Everything is different. Everything is better. Yes, Brian 74. This is the future of college basketball. Relying on the portal as much as we do. Thank you for that. But yeah, Brian, this is it. Because when you can get old quickly and you get 2 or 3 pieces, think of the 3 pieces that Illinois got this year. Marcus Domask, a 1,600-point scorer in the Missouri Valley at Southern Illinois University, Justin Harmon, a veteran from Utah Valley, and Quincy Guerrier, who played at Syracuse and Oregon. So this guy has a plethora of Power 5 experience. So you get 3 guys in the portal like that, that's the difference. Shannon's been outstanding. He's elevated his game. Hawkins has elevated his game. But those 3, Marcus Domask, shoot. So yeah, this is college basketball now. It's gonna resemble more of the NBA than college with the player movement and whatnot, in my opinion. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. I do, and I know you listen, so it means a lot. Alana Forever, thank you. Oh man, Kevin Kugler and Brandon Gaudin are 2 of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. Lisa Byington is my on-air wife because I've done so many games with her and also WNBA games in the summer. So no, that I'm fortunate that I really like the people that I work with. Really like them. So I'm very fortunate. My job is outstanding. I'm telling you, outstanding. Hey, Scott Starkweather, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Tune back in every Monday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless my schedule doesn't permit. But I love coming on here and sharing my thoughts and hearing your thoughts and your expertise, because you all are very, very informed fan base, I should say. So I appreciate you guys. Believe it or not, I've got to catch a flight tonight. I leave at 8:30, flying out to Omaha to go to, I've got Ohio State and Nebraska tomorrow night, and then Maryland and Iowa on Wednesday. So Ohio State and Nebraska tomorrow night at NBC Peacock, and Wednesday, Maryland and Iowa on Big Ten Network. Hope you guys can tune in. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate you for supporting the tribe. Text me at 312-847-2739 or go get your free copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. So thank you, guys. Enjoy this week of Big Ten basketball. And until next time, holla, y'all.